Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? How was your weekend? Was it great? Was it amazing? Was it memorable? That's the most important thing. Was it so memorable that it was the greatest weekend ever and you never wanted it to end? Was it that good? Because if it wasn't, you ain't living. You ain't living enough, buddy. You gotta go out and do more. More. Just keep doing so much more that you're tired of doing more and you're miserable. So the whole point of trying to be happy by doing more and more is, I don't know, goes out the window, right? Uh, how are you guys? It's been a week since someone got slapped, and I'm sure you're tired of it. I'm not here to talk about it. I think it's done to the debt, and there's been some sort of repercussions. It's something that's going to be in our memories for a while. It already feels like it happened 10 years ago or something. It's always. But that was an eventful weekend. I miss the good old days when a slap happened and I could talk about it and I'd have fun stuff to talk about. And now here, we've got to go back to the same old war in Russia and Ukraine, and oil prices killing us, and countries trying to overthrow their government in Sri Lanka, and uh, all sorts of politics. Man, let's be honest. Politics is entertainment to us for now, right? Especially in places like, I think I'm from Pakistan, and I'm on a lot of group chats, and I get into it myself as well. And part of me, I'm gonna let you on a little secret. Like, part of me does it for the fun, for instigating. So I like taking a little bit of a contrarian view to whatever is the popular thing going on. And I didn't find it hard this time. Look, I don't. If you're not into the politics of this side, you might have caught up on somewhere catching the headline in Pakistan. The prime minister pulled a stunt to get out of being fired by firing himself. That's basically it. That's what happened. All right. And every side is claiming victory on that. And it's left the country confused. And I just look at it and go, my God, that is funny as hell, right? Like, the way each side justifies the stuff. And I have no love for the guy, but I know there's worse out there. But I also just can't side with him because he's apparently, the reasoning behind it of like, well, he's the best option we have. That's just doesn't sit with me, man. It's like, they're all murderers, but like, he doesn't murder so many people, and in fact, when he does it with mercy. It's he murders only a few people all the time. The rest of them, they just murder, murder. So he's like the best murderer option we have if you have to elect anyone, and that's the justification for him. For voting for him. It just says something about our options and about the state of that place, man. That this is what we have. This is what we've zero-summed the game to. If you're on the other side too, just all the kind of logic that comes out, no one giving a shit about rule of law. It comes down to which side I'm on, and that kind of stuff has become quite apparent in a lot of places, I guess. Think in U.S. and if it's happening in U.S. and in a lot of other countries. And possibly because of the internet, because, when it came out, it was supposed to be this great thing. And now humanity has taken something that could have been used for making everything really, really wonderful into using it to divide ourselves up. It's so terrible. Like, we should be stripped off the internet. Someone should just some aliens just need to come down to Earth and go, right, no more internet for you guys. 5G, forget, you're not getting 1G. Right? We're taking it away. You're not responsible enough. We should be treated like kids like that by aliens coming in. No more. So that's where we're at. That's the world. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a little, I'm very positive about my own life, but I'm also a little negative about certain things. Like, I think inflation is going to be a problem if you're like reading stuff around, and unfortunately I do, and I regret it. Sometimes this things, it's like, maybe just reading this negative stuff is bad, right? Like, just stay away from it, just block it. But it's always in your face and you're always thinking about it. I'm a bit of a worrier as well. Wish I was more of a warrior, but that's a whole different thing. And and the thing is, it's going to, I think it's going to affect a lot of countries, man. A lot of like countries are going, like the governments are going to be, and I'm not advocating this. I sit in Dubai. I'm very happy here. I'm you got to slip that stuff in, yeah. It's I'm at like it's gonna happen in some places like Sri Lanka, where countries have taken loans and stuff. It's gonna start hitting them back, and people are pissed off and angry. So it's gonna be a couple of interesting years to see what happens, man. Uh, I don't want to get into it. I just want to raise my family, right? But it affects you at some point, like like schools, like having to drop my kid. I was calculating the other day, like I have to. I'm doing these lessons for my kid, and I'm like the back and forth. I'm going. I'm like, how much is this costing me now? I never used to think about that, but now it's the first time in an oil country, I guess, being raised here. It now affects me because Dubai pegged their oil prices to the world thing as well. It was subsidized heavily before, it's not anymore, for a while now. But that's where we're at, and it's hitting the pocket, and it all comes down. Everything comes down to economy. Because if you're not happy, if the people aren't happy, they're not being fed, they will revolt, no matter how nice and lovely you are. So that's your politics lesson for the day. And let's see what's happening. There's some dictators out there, wannabe dictators out there, want to hold on to power in any means possible. Just remember that. If you want to take anything away from this, just remember, all politicians are the same, and they all want to stay in power, and they'll do whatever it takes to be in power. So just take whoever you are with, just know they're human beings, and they're going to be shitty in their own ways. All right. So that's the truth. There you go. You've done it. So what I do for entertainment is I watch Severance these days. No, actually, there are a couple of good shows that have started. Thank God. I was so bored in between. There's some, you know what's funny is Netflix does horrible movies, but their series are better. So it's, I don't know why that is. They should just divide the movies up into 40-minute episodes, and then maybe I'll like it. Maybe it's just me in my head, right? Like it's like, hey, I'm on the third episode, it's great, but it's a movie. I'm like, an hour in, I'm not impressed anymore. I'm already bored of the characters here. But yeah, there's some good stuff. If you've got Apple TV, and if you don't, just find it somewhere on the internet. We know. Okay. I'm only using it because I got like a subscription for a year free with something else I bought. So anyway, there's a couple of shows on there. Well, actually, the show on Apple that I like is Severance. It's directed by Ben Stiller. It's kind of crazy, right? It's about these office people. No spoilers, just a background on the story. It's a bunch of office workers who have had their memories severed. So when they're outside of work, they have no memory of what happens at work, and when they're at work, there's a cutoff. Basically, they're two different people now, and they don't have to deal with taking the stress from work back home and taking the stuff from work into the office. Very cool. A little bit of a slow burner at times, but not too slow. A lot is happening. It's just so weird when you watch it, because there's a few scenes. If you start watching, you'll know there's a dancing scene. When you get to that episode, come back to this episode and leave me a comment, because that's just brilliant TV and the strangest thing I've ever watched in a scene in a TV series, at least right up there. Just bizarrely beautiful. And the thing is, in spite of it being such a bizarre show, you start relating and going, yeah, that's how work is, that's how people are, that's how life is. And that's amazing. It's really hard to do. That's why I admire the show. It's really hard to do this thing of being so weird and bizarre, and yet making it relatable enough, and that, because then you enjoy it more. Everything's got to be relatable in some way. If you're creating any kind of art, go crazy. But it's got to be grounded in something people go, yeah, I can attach my feelings, my emotion, my experiences to this as well. So there's your art tip today. Man, I'm dropping tips like they're flies. I That doesn't make sense, but I don't know why I said that. Because I don't really see flies dropping around all the time unless you use Piff Path, in which case it's kind of contrived and I don't know. I don't know. I take it back. It's not dropping like fly, but you're lucky. All the gems I'm dropping today. All right, I'm in this mood because this past week on the weekend, I got called into. Now there's this thing called Sarwa. It's a platform app for investment that's based out of Dubai. It's really great. A lot of people joining it and whatever. I'm not pitching it. They called me up to do a few series, and then they had the premiere for this interview series of people and how they handle finances. They called me to premiere. I hope I didn't lose you guys there. And I sat there, and there's a crowd, and they asked the CEO some questions, they asked the host some questions, and they asked me as a guest some real life questions because they want. One thing Sarah was doing great is about relating stuff to everyday people like finances and stuff. And there was a young crowd, and I got to share some of the stuff that's difficult for me, some of the mistakes I made along the way, especially considering I went down the route of no fixed income, almost like a freelancer, self-employed business owner kind of thing going on with me. So it was interesting to verbalize a lot of stuff and experiences, and I'm glad I got to share it because a lot of people don't know anything about my background. I've been very lucky to have earned good money. Yeah, I think I'm quite lucky and blessed that way to do something I love and be able to be paid well for it. I've been lucky that way. I've also been terribly unlucky because I'm terrible with finances. So I should have really, when I look back, I'm just like, oh, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have invested there. Shouldn't have spent it there. And all and all and all. And, hindsight's amazing. If I had hindsight at the beginning, then I'd be the most clever person in the world, right? Anyway, it was nice sharing that, and I think it came down to there's a lot of information out there in this day and age, and you can Google anything and advice and whatnot, but it comes down to the actions you take and one or two things that you need to do to fix your attitude towards money. That's the main thing. I think people, especially in my culture or my family and stuff, like money was always like this easy take and fun and whatnot, and now I just kind of go, wish someone had really drilled it into me that it's important, and it derives it leads to other stuff, into other moments of happiness. Like you can do so much more if you've got money. So take the emotion out of it. So if there's one thing, take the emotion out of money and deal with it as a thing, and know that so good and bad emotion, take it all away and deal with it with that, and you'll find your whole finances changing. Just that one thing. All right. So there you go. A financial tip thrown in today. I should be charging you guys for this. All right, but it's free. So all right, enjoy the show. All right, this is being too much. Okay, so I'm writing a show, and I'm struggling with it. I'm not gonna lie. Not because of a writing habit, just discipline. I'm trying to talk about discipline and finance, but my own comedy writing. It's really tricky, You got to write about, just so you know, if you're a comedy fan, just so you know, sometimes we write or work on ideas for an hour or two to get like 2 minutes. And when I say an hour or two, I don't mean like literally sitting there for an hour or two. I mean like a combined amount of hour of writing stuff, work that comes out, and hours to really come down to 3 to 5 minutes of actual good stuff, stuff that you're like, yeah, I think this could work. And then you try it on stage and you got to hone it. And it might drill down to 2 minutes. Then you rebuild it back to 3-5 minutes by adding good stuff to the good 2-3 minutes, right? That's how much crazy work goes into producing. And then you forget, like an hour takes a long time, but I'm hoping to do it because I'm hoping to hit a few countries very soon with a new show, like Pakistan, my home country. So I really want to do a tour there and part of the region here, and possibly hit North America before the end of the year. So it's a lot and it's tough, but I hope it comes through. So say a little prayer for me, please. Because without your prayers, I'll be nowhere and I'll have nothing. And so it's important. Okay. All right. Since I'm giving tips, one last one. I've been people my age or if you're younger and stuff like one of the things in my culture that I really wish that would change, really needs to change, is this whole attitude towards health, injuries, sickness. Right? Like we have this thing where we just kind of like brush it off and like, oh, it's nothing. Right? You just have someone walking with their leg like completely broken, so it's like hanging from the knee down, just wobbling around, and they're like, "Oh, it's nothing, a little trip, it'll be fine in a week," or just running a high fever and going, "Oh, I'm fine, I'll come into work. This thing won't spread." Right? We have this real bizarre attitude, and we gotta change that, man. We gotta get stuff checked. So, even my own knee, I've talked about it in the past. I've had a knee surgery a year ago now, a little less than a year ago, and you forget, and I'm still kind of recovering from it. Much better. I do running, I do sports and stuff now, but it's not the same yet, right? Or maybe it won't ever be the same because I'm old. But my main thing is I kind of kept delaying it, like living with the pain to the point where the pain had become normal. Like just wobbling around, picking my kid up, going, like really lifting myself up and just sitting there going, why am I doing this to myself, guys? Why? I finally went to a doctor and they're like, you need surgery. Like the thing's shattered, right? Oh, and I feel so much better, not butter. Butter's where what caused the weight and what caused the knee injury in the first place. I feel better now because, like I said, I may not have recovered 100%. The pain's not there, and I feel a lot better than where I was before. And I try to catch myself doing that with everything related to my health now, like my teeth, my my eyesight, everything, man. Maybe I'm more conscious because I'm older as well, but I think it's a cultural thing. So if it's something you have in your family, you've grown up with, it's just something you do, very regional thing as well, to stop it and just get yourself checked all the time. Now, I'm not saying become neurotic like other people to the other extreme where they're like, oh my God, I need a doctor right now, because that'll drive up your medical bills and your insurance and whatnot as well. But go when you think it's a problem. Go, all right, and just like get an opinion from people around you. If they think, yeah, man, your skin color is green and you're throwing up on me as we're talking about this, so I think you need to go, then they probably are right. Yeah. So listen to them and go. On that note about going, I gotta go too. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Enjoy the tips. Don't forget to share and subscribe to it and leave a comment. All of that helps me with spreading the podcast out. And thank you for listening. I'll catch you guys next Monday. Take care.